To legal matters, the lawmakers in Nigeria have been tasked to ensure that special seats for women bill is passed to ensure women inclusion and representation in government. This was as stakeholders in Abuja expressed worry over the lack of representation of women in government, saying that Nigeria has the lowest number of women in politics, a situation that has become a dent in the nation's democratic process. They urged the National Assembly to fulfill the yearnings of millions of Nigerian women and ensure that the bill is passed as part of the ongoing constitutional review process in the country.
In the current 10th Assembly, only 4 out of 109 senators are women. That is giving us 2.7%. In the House of Representatives, only 17 out of 360 members are women, roughly 4.7%. Altogether, women make up only about 4.2 out of 469 members National Assembly.
If it is not passed, it would define the qualification of this National Assembly. I think that Nigerians will decide that the 10th National Assembly is a failure if the special seats bill does not pass. So my hope, my expectation, and the demand that we all have as Nigerians who have a National Assembly is that National Assembly will respond to our demand, citizens' demand, that women be given the representation and presence in.
Now being joined by Kelvin Agagbe, Benue State Coordinator of the Youth Electoral Reform Project in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Kelvin.
Thank you for having me.
Why do you think it's difficult, or it's been difficult for women to break through what some will consider the political ceiling or the governance ceiling?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, first of all. I think it's been very difficult for women because, first of all, politics in our country is highly monetized, and there's a level at which they could commit their resources to fighting for political position as against their counterparts men. And also electoral violence is one of those things that also scare women away from, challenging polls as it were. So some of this myriad of challenges are some of the reasons that women kind of like find it difficult, to break through the ceiling of leadership in our country.
Okay, so you work with the youth in the Electoral Reform Project, so to speak. Do you think there's anything that you and your group can do to make any difference, to push for the passage of this bill? Yeah,
so we have been doing that. So I'll talk a bit about what we've done so far. The special seat bill is just one of our reforms that are currently with the National Assembly and that we're going to be voting for. So across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country, we have members across the 36 states plus FCT, and we have taken time to advocate for these reforms. We had about 10 of them, but 4 made it to the Electoral Committee and to the House of Representatives and the Senate, as it were. So we have a situation where we're able to meet legislators at some point time in the program implementation phase. What we're doing was to advocate to lawmakers personally, and after we did that, we're also able to across the 19 public hearings, the zonal public hearings and the national public hearing, we're also there to air our concerns on some of these reforms. And I'm very happy that we're able to have about 4 of them, and the special seats also being one of those very important bills.
Okay, but you do know that there are those who believe that the biggest challenge to the women getting into the political space or the governance space is women themselves, because they are not supporting themselves. Do you think that's also a problem? And how is that? Is that something that you're
I think the big trying to addresses that as it well. So we're proposing a situation where there are additional seats for women so that women can contest. So it's going to be a women affair, as it were. So we believe that regardless of if they're not supporting themselves, that's not the contention at the moment. The contention at the moment is that give women seats so that
make
they
the
have
seat available
for
whether
women.
they take it or not.
Whoever gets it is a woman, so that makes a lot of sense.
So the concern is not whether women are supporting women.
Yeah.
Let there be a law that ensures that. So what if at the end of the day, let's just say 109 seats in the Senate, and the law says 40 should be kept for women? Okay, let's just say the law says. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Okay, but let me give you the perspective of the law.
Okay.
So the law says create 37 additional seats for women in the Senate, 37 in the House of Representatives. So the 109, the 60, the 320 is already there. So we're not touching those seats. All right. So women
so
can as well.
The law is asking for additional senatorial zones, so to speak.
Well, women constituency seats, because there's also a debate around, is this going to be a constituency? Is it going to be zones, as it were? So, but we're saying these are women zones. And the law is also saying there's going to be a time frame for us to review. But the goal is, let's get 187 women into the National Assembly.
So if, now the question I was going to ask is, if that 37 extra seats are provided by the law, and the women don't occupy them, what happens?
So women have to occupy them.
If they don't occupy them,
how would they not occupy them? Because the seat is meant for them, and it's going to be prescribed for them and only meant for them to contest. So a man won't be contesting for a special seat for women.
All right, let's hope that this works out very well for you and your team and the entire nation of women as a whole.
We hope so, and we're not relenting. So we're engaging with the National Assembly as we speak. All our groups across the country are ensuring that they're messaging their legislators, and also even because it's a constitutional amendment process, we're also talking to the legislators at the state level to ensure that by the time it's cascaded down to them, they also vote in the position of young people. All
right, thank you very much. Kelvin Agagbe is the Benue State Coordinator of the Youth Electoral Reform Project in Nigeria.
Thank you
for coming. Thank you.